came from, and we won't be here today if we didn't have an undergraduate program. Because to get a PhD, you need to have an undergraduate program. And I would like to invite the president who has fought to get the first undergraduate engineering program to the Rio Grande Valley. As I recall, he was the longest serving Hispanic president in the nation. And if you go on 107, there is a Miguel Nevares Drive. I was telling Dr. Bailey, UTRGV, you need to name the highway after you. You cannot name a street. I mean, which city gonna? So you see Miguel Nevares, and I want the students to meet Dr. Nevares because they always see it. So please help me welcome, our former president. He's a president emeritus, Dr. Miguel Nevares. Thank you.
When they start naming things after you, that's a sign that you gotta move on. You've been here too long. First of all, I want to thank Dean Allen for the invitation, and I want to congratulate you, Dr. Bailey, in what you have accomplished in a very short time in terms of higher education degree programs. Master's and doctoral programs on that. You've done a wonderful job. And also, Dean Allen, I want to congratulate you and thank you for what you've done in a very short time with what started out as just an engineering program at this campus over there. My task that the dean gave me is, where do we come from? Where you came from on that. How hard was it to get a engineering program here? Well, let me tell you, just in the early 1980s that we were here, we were already at university with a bachelor's degree, and we were trying to get graduate programs, master's and doctoral programs. But it's kind of difficult sometimes to get those kind of programs. You have to have expertise in those fields to be able to write the curriculum. You have to have what I call start-up funds because it takes money. If you don't have the faculty to start the program, you have to come up with the money ahead of time. You need facilities, you need operating money, you need a whole bunch of things. And then you have to take all that to the Carnegie Board and get that approval over there. It really was very difficult at that time, I'm talking about in early, to start master's and doctoral programs. We did a few master's programs during that period of time. We even tried to do a couple of doctoral programs at that time on that. But it was difficult. So one of the things, somebody came up with the idea, well, let's look at what kind of funding you're getting at the university. How much are you getting per student at this university, and how much is the other universities getting? And let's do a comparison. Well, by no surprise, at least no surprise to us, we're at the very bottom on funding per student that we had. So, and we weren't the only ones. Texas A&I had the same thing. Corpus Christi had the same thing. Laredo had the same problem. All 4 universities in deep South Texas were having the same kind of problems on it. Somehow, MalDef got a hold of that information. And guess what they did? They filed a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit against us for not offering the program, but also against the state. And they called it discrimination. It really wasn't discrimination. It was the kind of programs we had, because we couldn't afford only the lower end kind of programs, the bachelor's programs, and the low end master's programs that we had. So, and we get funded, everybody gets funded based on semester credit hours, as you all know. And a semester credit hour in English is less than a semester credit hour in English at the master's level, and even less at the doctoral level. And if all your programs are at the undergraduate programs, well, your funding is going to be less. And English is funded at a lower rate as the engineering program does. We didn't have engineering. We had a lot of English, we had a lot of liberal arts programs, but we didn't have a high cost program. Somehow that lawsuit got a lot of attention in Austin, where the legislature instructed Texas A&M and UT Austin, hey, you two guys, go down in South Texas, see what the hell you can do to those 4 universities that are having all kinds of problems on them. And so they did. Hans Mark was the chancellor of UT at that time. And I forget the name of the chancellor at A&M on that. But they came down here and they visited us, and they visited Kingsville and Corpus and Laredo. And they basically said, you know, the problem you have is you don't have startup money and you don't have the expertise. We can help you, but we can help you more if you're within our system. If you come and join us, it's a lot easier to do it, and we can do it better. Well, what did that mean? Well, we had to go back to our respected boards and say, hey guys, you know, we're going to leave you. You know, you're going to have to vacate your region appointment on that. And what does the board say? What, you know, why? You know, what are you getting if you start joining the UT system? Well, we have a commitment to start programs. Our region, which was Regents at Pan American University, said we want a commitment of what kind of programs you're going to get. And so he instructed me, you know, come up with a list, get the UT Regents to kind of bless it on that. So, you know, we came up with a whole bunch of programs. Professional programs, doctoral programs, master programs. Matter of fact, one of them was we went to law school down here. Why? Because at that time we had the Reynaldo Garza Law School here in the Valley. And then we were kind of struggling, and they wanted to be state supported. And I remember talking to Hans Mark, the chancellor, and I said, one of the things we want is a law school. And he looked at me and said, how many law schools are there in the UT system? One. Where is it? Austin. Who do you think the graduates of that law school are? I don't know. It's like who's who in Texas. He said there'll never be another law school in the UT system. And he told me that back in 1984, 95, 85. And to this day, how many law schools there are in the UT system? One, the same one. So he said the law school is off the table. What do you want in the professional life? I said, I want a medical school. What's that? We'll write it down on it. So I came back to the board reading and said, beautiful. And they said, if they're committed to this, we're committed to step down and, you know, join the UT system. We have to file, and the same thing happened to Kingsville and Corpus and Laredo. They came down here, and I don't know if the UT system chancellor and the A&M chancellor say how they came up with the idea. You take Pan America, and we're going to take Kingsville and Corpus and Laredo and that. I don't know how they did, but that's what they did. So we filed a program to get those approved. In 1989, they were approved, and we joined the UT system. And almost immediately down here, we had a couple of doctoral programs. They even sent on loan a couple of faculty members to help us get those programs established on that. And that was just an example. But I think, going back to your question, how did you get funded? I think if we hadn't joined the UT system, we would not be where we are right now. And that's my just personal opinion on this thing. And we thank the UT system. They've been, at least during my tenure, they were very, very helpful. I assume that they were very helpful during your tenure, Dr. Bailey. I noticed that, in just your tenure, you already approved 7 doctoral programs since, 2015, less than 10 years. And you got 5 more kind of in the works. Now you start looking at 7 and 5, we would have never have done that. We would never have gotten a degree in engineering because the cost to start it up is very expensive on that. And, so we have having to move forward with that. And what I want to end up right now, I want to congratulate and I want to thank, the faculty and the staff in creating, writing. I know what it is. You have to write the whole curriculum for the doctoral program, and you have to then figure out how you can get the money to get the program started on that. So my congratulations to the faculty and the staff in the College of Engineering on that, and I thank you for inviting me.
And I want to recognize his amazing daughter, Annette, for taking good care. Give her a big round. Annette, thank you. Of course, it's great to have great presidents like Dr. Bailey and Dr. Nevares, have provosts like Dr. Zayas and deans like me and Dr. Insera. But we all know that the ones who make the biggest difference for our students, the one who bring the university